Okay, in this video, I'm going to talk about when a person, a narcissistic, histrionic person, does something wrong repeatedly, the same thing, over and over and over, and then they're caught at some point, caught doing it, and they continue to do it over and over and over. Now, this isn't necessarily, it doesn't have to be one of those wasn't me kind of situations when somebody's cheating on somebody. That could be. But this can be when somebody's doing another person, not a romantic partner or anything, but just keeps doing them wrong. It could be at work, wherever. And like in a family. And somebody catches them and points it out and calls them on the carpet about it. And that person just keeps doing it. Okay? They just keep doing it. Like as if it isn't anything wrong when it is something wrong. You see? Okay, let's say this person is female. Okay, and she just keeps doing another female wrong over and over. And when she's called on the carpet about it, she just says that no, she really doesn't mean anything bad by it. She's just being misunderstood. Think about that. What's she doing? She's playing the victim. Then she says something like, she says that she really has a good heart. And she would never purposely do anything wrong. So she's, they're just not seeing it right. They're just not seeing who she is. Again, playing the victim. Okay, she's taking deflecting what's bad about her and basically saying it's not at all her. It must be them. They must be looking at it wrong. They must not be seeing it right because that's just not her way. She's an innocent little victim here. How many of us have known this type? Seen it happen over and over again. And for some people, like, say if it's a boss, and the boss has heard it about her before, but just doesn't see it. Believes that she's that innocent one, and they're just misunderstanding it. And how many of us have seen that? I know I have. Do know I have. Not all the time. None of this is ever all the time, or none of the time. But yeah, this type of person, in my experience in life, they're really skilled at this. They read people on how the person is responding to whatever it is they're saying, and they might switch it a little bit if the person is still seems like they're doubting them. They're skilled at it, especially when they're close, when they're middle-aged and over. Okay, but they're really skilled at it. I'm trying to catch up on some of these notes that I make. I've been doing that for years now. And this one was, I found some of them, and this one was on top, and it's about this topic. And another one I wrote on it, it says that that they have, she states that she has good intentions. The whole thing of they have, she has a really good heart, and she's just being misunderstood. And like I was saying, if they're caught, that person's not buying into it, they'll use some way of saying that they have the good intentions. That they didn't do it intentionally to harm them. They thought they were helping them out. And so they just misunderstood what the purpose was. I was definitely seeing, when was it? Was it last year? Around this time last year that I saw this? Or maybe earlier this year. Anyway, they're going to play the victim. They're never going to be at fault. And I do really wonder that if in their minds they have somehow, and I don't think it's a 100% across the board, but somehow they've convinced themselves that they are the victim. That they're believing their own lies. They're believing, even though when they did it, they didn't even care what the outcome was for anybody else because they believe they can do whatever they want. We don't live in a world where you can do anything you want and get away with it. things have consequences to your actions, to your words. And everybody pays their own consequences for what they do. Well, some say they don't, some don't. But eventually, perhaps, maybe, it'll catch up with them. Some call it karma. Some don't. It doesn't happen to some. But anyway, they'll play victim. Now, like if it's online, something online, I'm looking at my notes here. If somebody makes videos and has an audience, like on YouTube, or you can do videos on Facebook. Where else? I know there are a lot of places you can make videos. But say they make videos, and if somebody calls them on the carpet about their behavior, what they said, how they said it, that they weren't intentionally trying to do anything against anybody, but what they said was wrong. If somebody calls them on that and says, no, that's incorrect, this type, no. They're saying, no, they've done their homework, they know what they're talking about, and you're just a hater. That's what they'll go. They'll make this quick little thing that you're a hater, and once again, they're the victim. They're playing the victim. They are the victim of somebody else. They're not wrong in any of this. That's the whole thing. They're never going to be wrong. They're the victim. And they're not. Okay, so I've done videos in this in the past, I've seen this lather, rinse, repeat, in my lifetime. I'm not always the person who they're trying to make the victim. Is that I got older and stronger, and yeah, I'm less and less. Because I will call them on the carpet. I'll eventually wait long enough till they've, give them a little rope, and then I'll call them on the carpet. I will. I'll call them out. This is what you did. This is your name. This is what you the consequences. Here's the proof. Something like that. But some of them, they don't think that way. They don't have that. Some seem to think that it's just that they can't think that far ahead, and it could be for some, that they can't get it all, the whole picture. But some of them do, and they don't care. Plain and simple, it's all about them. That's what they want. I'm losing my voice. That's what they want. That's what they're going to get. They don't care. And if there are consequences, I'll find my way out of it, play the victim later on. That kind of thing. Lather and repeat. It's so common in my world, especially, like I said, when I was younger. Still, people try to do that, to this day. Makes me laugh. But, because eventually they will be outed. Okay. And that's what I personally think, and I'm not giving any advice or anything to anybody. You pay the consequences to your own actions and inactions. But I personally think that, some people say when you have a bully or somebody who's like this, the best thing to do is just to go no contact if you can. Lather, rinse, repeat. Now, me personally, being Texan, not all Texans are this way. And some seem to think that Texan women, they're pushovers. I don't know where in the world they get that from. But, no. I'm not that type. I've said it before. I'm not that type to just let it go. I'll let them, like I said, give them a little rope. Keep giving rope eventually. But I do think that some people need to. Some say a bully. Like I saw something on TV, on the news about the other day. Talk about bullies. Haven't we all heard in all of our lives, about bullies? Some say you're supposed to stand up to them. Some say you're supposed to just walk away. There's no answer. There's no one answer. Because each situation is different. And the consequences to some could be very bad. And some could have a good outcome to say, hey, I'm standing up. You're not gonna ever bully me again. And you need to stop bullying. If I ever catch you bullying again, like this kind of attitude. And then some other ones is just, people say, yep, you see, they can bully and get away with it. So, or they'll hurt the person. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. But I personally, I think more and more as I get older, like I said earlier, I'm going to stand up. Embarrass them. If I have to embarrass them, I will. I don't think humiliation is a good answer for anything. If somebody has done me wrong repeatedly and is not listening when I say no. Anyway. Okay. But eventually, the thing about it is sometimes a person doesn't have to do anything. Because people start to say, well, wait a minute now, didn't you? They start to doubt them. They're flying monkeys. And it doesn't even have to be they're flying monkeys. The flying monkeys, they just do whatever they're told, really, when it comes down to it. But some of them eventually say, wait a minute, I'm doing an awful lot for this person, and she's not doing anything for me. She's just rotten to the core. She is rotten to the core. And I don't even have anything to do with that. I have my own life to live. Yeah. And some see it, some start to see it, but some, it takes longer. But it really becomes, that again, that part also, lather, rinse, repeat. Because there will be more people coming in, more people going out. Eventually, what I've seen in my life is people say, the people who they want to call haters will come up against the people who are, new people and clue them in. And just keep pounding it. So, and then their game is gone. They have to go move on. That's my experience in life. Okay, another thing I wrote on here was sob stories. Now, how many of us have seen somebody on video? I mean, actually on video or in person, and they have, they've been caught on the carpet, whatever, and they suddenly burst into tears. And it can even be where there's no reason. There's nothing like that. They just burst into tears. And they have all these sob stories. Bottom lip pouting and everything. I've seen that. Grown woman in her 40s. But, that bottom lip pout. And has all these sob stories. And, of course, somebody else is doing her wrong. And the person she's doing wrong. On and on. If you hear a story like that, how many of us really hear that kind of story and say, I'm going to check on this myself. I'm going to find out. I think that's something that maybe, well, it really depends on the situation. Remember, one size doesn't fit all. But I do wonder if maybe more of us need to do that more often. Not to the point where we just don't trust anything we ever hear, but still have that little bit of to it. Especially when you really look at them. I think some of us, when somebody's crying, sobbing and something, you kind of look away. I know I do. I think instead it's just to sit there and stare at their face and see if it's genuine. Because some people, actresses and actors, but even if they're not, some of these are wannabes. Really. But people can just cry like that. And just have a big old sob story and hoo-hoo, boo-hoo. When it is not at all real. But they do that to try to play that victim and get their way. Okay, I think this one, some of the other ones, the other notes I have, they were, I wrote them took them out of the DSM that's listed in my description box below this video on YouTube. Read it. But, yeah, they look like it. Something like histrionics on a job. They often initiate a new job project, but interest lags quickly. It may lag quickly. Okay. And then also, I wrote common more than other disorders. Now, I have read some research that was old that said that histrionic personality disorder, I wasn't talking about personality disorder, I was talking about behaviors earlier. But the actual disorder was very common. And I read this years ago, but then you read I'm talking very common, not like 1-2%, something like that. I think it was something like 50% or something. Very common. But, yeah, I have wondered, how are they seeing it somehow different? Is it that, I do know, like in counseling, it has to be the degree to which. There's a whole lot of to which whats in there. There can be. It depends on what it is. But, like it affects their everyday. or their job performance, or their relationships, or their whatever it is. For each one is different, some of them. But I think it's very common myself. I think the behaviors are very common, and as the selfie, era, it all continued. It's from. I wonder if they still call it the selfie era right now, or if it's a little beyond that. But oh my goodness, the narcissism these days is just, to me, stands out. And I think histrionic is one that really needs to be more out there. More people need to be putting it out there. But I do wonder if they don't, because they might turn the flashlight on their faces. It's kind of scary when that happens if it's dark. You see what I'm saying? I have wondered about this. If it's, it was, some wanted it taken out of the DSM. Anyway, but I think that the spotlight would be on them. I said flashlight, I know. I had an image in my head of, when people put a flashlight under their chin and in the dark, like I said. But the spotlight's on them. The spot, especially these days, really. I really do see it. There's so many people, seem like they want to be such the center of attention, they'll do anything to get it. But what is causing this? Now, as a sociologist, I'll say that one thing I do think is that too many people are really living now in a world. Sorry about that. I have some couldn't even see it. Message came up on my phone. But anyway, I think too many people. We live in this world where, too many people are living in big cities. They're not living much in where they really get to know other people in their town. It's no longer it's less of a town, and it's more of a city, like I said. Or a lot of small towns real close together. That people really don't get to know their neighbors, don't get to know the people at stores. Like where I live, you hardly ever see the same people in the stores. I call them revolving door jobs. And it's been this way for years. But I have said I live in Narcissismville, what I call Narcissismville. But it is a big city. It's a city suburb of Dallas. And but really, I think that is one of the biggest problems, is that people don't, I'm not saying it's the only one, and I could be wrong, but as a sociologist, that people, they don't have anything, they don't have people who know who they are. And then it differentiates them from the next person. Like, here you go to a store, you're just, ring it up. They just ring it up and that's it. Have a good day. If they even say thank you or what, anything, you're just a transaction. They might not even look up to see your face. They just see the items on there. Ring it up. Tell you the cost in a monotone voice. And is it monotone voice? Okay. Anyway, but you see what I'm saying. But if you live, when I go to my old hometown, I haven't been there in 7 years, but 6 years, 6.5. But when I go, actually next month will be 7 years. But when I would go there, okay, it was night and day. The difference was night and day, because it's a town. It's not a huge city, and there people know one another. If they don't know that person, somebody they know knows that person, or their family, or something like that. It's not a big town. It's not a really small town either. But I would go into, wherever, to a store there, and the cashier was so bubbly, friendly, no matter who, male, female, different ones, different places. They were there when they were there. Okay, they saw you. They looked at your face. They recognized, whether they recognized you or not. People were courteous. There were some bad seeds, of course, but not everything was Pleasantville before it turned bad. But you see what I'm saying. But now, You know, like there, I would be the sociologist. I would be the woman who's taught at college and university. Okay, there. Here, nobody knows. Nobody knows me here. Well, I have some neighbors who do. They're so nosy. Actually, I have some neighbors I know. So, I don't have anything bad to say about them. And, but you see what I'm saying? But people to really get to know you, that doesn't seem to happen much in cities at all. Now, I'm not the first one to say that. Read Durkheim, my goodness. Yeah. But anyway, I think that is one of the problems, is that people, that too many, they just don't have that connection anymore. Right now, during the pandemic, I think it's even worse. And I don't know where my light's on here, but I do. I think it can get, much more worse than it already is. People vying for attention, they must have it. Somebody must see them and their gifts and their differences. And that's to a point of kind of quite pathological, or to an extreme. But for anybody, and I think that this is that kind of thing that if we cannot take the blame away from them. They should not be doing that. They will take somebody else's just as much as they can to get more and more and more and more and more and more attention. Some people, they do it because they want to get more money. Some it's attention and money, fame, whatever. Okay, they have such a high need. But your everyday person who isn't narcissistic, histrionic, how can they be differentiated from the next person if nobody knows you? You see what I'm saying? I think that's a problem, that not enough people get to know one another. Okay, without there being some kind of competition or one stealing from the other person. Be your own self. Don't steal somebody else's persona, their catchphrases, their likes, their dislikes, their stories. Seriously, don't steal my stories anymore. Really. There's these things called copyrights. But, be yourself. Problem is, like I was saying, where? I mean, if during the pandemic, like I said, it's worse. Who's going out there and who wants somebody to come over? It's not that good of an idea. In fact, I think the experts say it's not a good idea at all. Don't trust me. Trust the actual scientists. Not the wannabes, not the so-called, but the real ones like Dr. Fauci. CDC. Anyway, World Health Organization. Not Billy Bob Jimbo and Sally Sue. You knew I had to say that. But see, like that would be it's an inside joke, inside me. But that's the kind of thing, me saying that, I know some people, especially one, would take it as their own. Okay, or take that, but kind of twist it a little bit. Maybe change the names, but the same kind of attitude. Because why? Do you lack something that you can't create your own and not have to steal somebody's idea in the first place? I mean, do you lack ability to be yourself, to have your own things and not somebody else's, and that person and that person and that person's and that person's? And some of them, they don't stop at one. They just go across all of it. But like I said, then, the people who, this is their personality, this is who they are, living in the world we're living in today, we're a lot of big cities, not that many people in small towns, but even if in small towns, you're distant from other people, and somebody's taking from you what is you? Like, bloodsuckers. Really. They just want to take all of it. Someone call them what? I don't know. But yeah, that's just really bad. And it's really sad to know a person can be like that. That I know a person is so desperate. It's really what it comes, some of it comes down to. Some of it just comes down to pure evil. But there's somebody so that desperate. And one of the things in my life with people I've seen that are narcissistic, histrionic, and that kind of blend of behaviors, some of them actually diagnosed as borderline personality disorder, is that they are that bad. I mean, it goes on from there. They have no soul. Anyway, there was another thought, but it flew out the window. There was some car that was driving behind me. Got distracted. So, okay, I was looking through all these notes that I have. I have a stack like you wouldn't believe, you know, like I said, over years. And my goodness, I have another one on when they were caught. And like I said, some of them I took right out of the DSM. And then I also had written some notes about the prevalence of it, histrionic personality disorder. Anyway, I guess I'm going to have to do more than one. A few. I have I'd say about 50, just in this stack. Pages, 50 pages, and I write really small. Not too really, I can sometimes read it. Really neat and small. I don't know where that came from. But anyway, this video is getting too long, I do believe. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.